Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How we doing this morning? It is Wednesday. Wasn't on yesterday. Had office meeting that I had to attend, lead for real estate related items. And today we get to sit back down. Get going on the charts again. So if the music's a little too loud, just let me know. I'll turn it down a little bit. Want to have a little bit of background music. Enjoy that. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Charles. Glad to have you guys this morning. Today is going to be a blessed day. For you, for me, for all of us. Let's start by getting a higher time frame view of what's going on. And let's see what we can see. Yesterday was quite a day. Price action honestly was really good yesterday. And it was really nice. That was our first red day in 8 days. That's kind of crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Our 9th day. 20-second delay. I apologize, Pin. You know what? I don't know why there's such a delay. I might look more into that. But I know if you hit the bottom right, you can speed up the time. Sometimes that has helped in making sure things are not as delayed. I'm not sure why there's a delay. So I'll look more into that today because I really would like to solve that problem. I don't like, usually I expect a 3 to 5 second delay. And but 20 seconds it seems a little bit overkill. Deborah, you had a green day yesterday. I got in and out quick. Way to go. I'm sorry, Pilar. What, as far as is it going to affect you much? Probably not as far as the delay. I talk about everything most everything well in advance. There's very small things that could affect an entry you do, but this isn't an alert service. This is more of a educational content, helping you be able to read price action yourself and you to be able to take the trade yourself, like Deborah did. Congrats, Deborah. What model did you take, Deborah, when you took that trade? All right, so while we're looking here, we dug up into this daily volume imbalance. I called that at the beginning of the month, beginning of the week, before we actually had any movement. I said we'll probably run into this level here. Now we closed red after hitting this level. Okay. So it doesn't mean we are bearish. It could still mean we're bullish. This could turn into a bullish order block today if we close above it. We need to drop down to a lower time frame to really get some more context on where price could go. I do like this 4-hour fair value gap sitting right here. This 4-hour fair value gap is overlapping with these equal highs. I do like that. And let's mark out our midnight open and our opening. Let's see. Do we have an opening range? Let's just look here. I know it is 32 right now. I sat down late, had to take my kids to work or to school. All right, so this was the opening range gap. Pretty tight. We've already filled it. So there's not any opening range opportunities there for us. Fair value gap reversal exactly at 7 a.m. Well, congrats. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad you got something. All right, we're going to look at the new day opening gap here, right around here. That's really tight. Not much. So we got a lot of consolidation. That's the new day opening gap. That's today's new day opening gap. And this could be a draw on liquidity now that we have it open. We've been flirting with the previous day's opening day gap. New day opening gap. And now here we are here. Let's drop down a little bit lower. We got the hourly. We got relatively equal highs. I don't like that. I mean, I do like that in the sense that it's a draw on liquidity to the upside. We have some low resistance liquidity, and we're inside this 1 hour fair value gaps right now. And that is right here. I'm just marking out the things that that are obvious to me. And we just came down to the consequent encroachment of that. Let's drop down to the 15-minute. Looks like we're going to push through that right now. Relatively equal lows here. Low resistance liquidity, so I would expect this to be ran today. It just depends if we're bullish or bearish, because we have relatively equal highs above here, but we also have some low resistance liquidity below here as well. We did run this high right here, and we found some support inside Tuesday's new day opening gap. Look at the respect of all the bodies on the 15-minute. Drop down to the 5-minute, and pretty close as well for this new day opening gap. As far as new week, our new week opening gap is way down here. And if I'm honest, I am bearish. I would like to be bearish. I want to be bearish. Doesn't mean I'm going to be bearish. I want to see lower prices if I'm honest. I would love to see lower prices, but it doesn't matter what I want. It matters what the market's willing to give us. Relatively equal highs sitting here. We just don't have any entry opportunity on the 1 minute. We did find resistance or support here in this hourly fair value gap. We go down to the tick. The body's respected the consequent encroachment. If I'm looking for a quick response, I want to see how it reacts off of this breaker right here. Do we find support here to continue higher, or we just violate it completely and continue to move lower? Now, we need to look at news here. I forgot. I think we have news today. What do we got for the news? Let's see here. Today's Wednesday. We got FOMC minutes at 2 o'clock. And crude oil inventories. Okay. So I'm okay with looking for opportunities right now even. Okay, so this is considered this is sell side liquidity right here. And we have a 1 minute fair value gap that we basically stopped in. The body's respected and moved above it. So we do have permission to go higher. I'm just looking for if there's a model that supports the idea of going higher. Structure shows us that we could go higher, at least to these relatively equal highs. But see how consolidated, how wicky, how lack of fair value gaps there are here? We could drop down to the 30-second, but I still probably would not like it. And even on the 30-second, we violated some fair value gaps. We violated a fair value gap right here, and we didn't run this high. So I don't like that. This is something we want to stay out of. We don't want to mess around in this. We don't want to mess around in this. I'm expecting these to be ran here. These will probably be ran fairly quickly. Now, after we run these, the question is, where do we go from there? Are we just going to wick above it and grab the liquidity? Because look at all these relatively equal highs here. Buyers are finding this as, think this will be resistance. They'll put their stops right above these. And see how aggressive the candle is? It doesn't waste any time. It runs up there in a single candle, grabbing that liquidity, not just meandering around. It wants to grab it quickly. Okay, and now we're watching how this candle closes. This is the kind of stuff you can't get when you are looking at past price action. You don't get the movement of the candles. And it's why it's so important you sit in front of your charts as much as possible, because you need to see how the candle moves, how it opens, how does it fluctuate in between the open and the close of the candle, right? Many times you'll see it try to manipulate lower in the last 15 seconds, then it runs higher. You know what I'm saying? It tries to manipulate. I always like watching the last 30 seconds. What does it do right when we hit 30 seconds? Does it start to retrace? Does it start to expand? Right? Because at that point, if you consider the power of three is prevalent in every single candle, whether it's an hourly candle, daily candle, or a 1 minute candle. Here we're looking at even 30-second candles, right? So the power of three is prevalent in all of price action, and you assume that the first 15 seconds is manipulation, the middle 15 to 30 seconds is just fluctuations in price, and the last 15 seconds is the direction it wants to go. Now, it's not always that way, but it's a framework that you can start looking at these lower time frame candles on and begin to watch them. So let's watch this candle. So we're at 1 minute. The first thing it does is it wicks a little bit higher, but then starts moving lower. So this is at the very beginning of the candle. So typically when you get a wick first and you start moving the other direction, it might not give you a continuation higher. But we're watching in the first 30 seconds, is it going to be aggressive lower, or is it going to, at 30 seconds, start to retrace again and lose the body that it made in the first half of the candle? So now we're in the second half of the candle right now. Now I'm watching it to see if we're going to continue lower. And this tells me that we're probably in a bearish candle because we're so close to the close, 15 seconds, and we haven't retraced back to where it opened. So these are signatures in price that you can watch. Now we do have a inversion right here that we can keep an eye on to see if price wants to close below it. That would be an opportunity. We did grab this liquidity right here, but we did not break this high. Okay, we found resistance in the new day opening gap again. What does price want to do at this point? And I'm not interested in going short here because when I look at the 5 minute, things are just too, we ran liquidity to the downside first, and then we just wicked these highs right here. Price doesn't have to go down here right away. We just came down here, and grab this liquidity that was sitting right below this level. So it doesn't have to go down here right now. I need a more obvious level for me to watch or for me to take an opportunity on. So this is part of my inversion model, and it looks as if it wants to move in this direction. But I'm not going to take it right now. I'm going to watch and see what happens with price. This is where your close would be, right here. And you're looking to target this swing low right here to move your stop to break even. I am not in this trade. Main reason is we already grabbed this low. It doesn't need to go back down here. We just created it. So I'm not interested in it right now. And we didn't really grab these highs over here. So I'm not interested in it. We have 20 seconds left. I'm more interested. If there's a 30-second inversion in this, I would take a long right here. But there isn't. So no opportunity there. We do have this breaker that is sitting right here. It'd be more like right here. That's really nice. I didn't see that. We should see price. My guess is see price run this level. I see if we find support and we want to continue higher. We did close above it. Let's see if it wants to continue. Okay, so we just created equal highs. That's a good sign for higher prices. I don't want it to leave it here. Sometimes price will leave it there, but we do have support from these levels right here. I want to see how this candle closes. Do we violate this low? Look how we closed right on that tick, or we hit that tick. Okay, there's that high right there. Let's see if we get a little bit of an expansion here. There's our expansion. Let's keep going here. What do we got for higher time frame? All right, we just grabbed that high. 15-minute. Now, let's see what happens with price right here. Do we find support at this high, or do we continue through it? We also have this order block right here. We want to see how price reacts to that level. Okay, so now we grab liquidity to the upside. It does give us permission to look to see if there's any opportunities to go short. However, I'm not really interested in that based on how the 5-minute candle closed. Look at how the 5-minute candle closed, guys. Look at that 5-minute candle right there. That to me is very bullish. We came down, we grabbed liquidity, and we filled in a volume imbalance, balanced an hourly fair value gap as well. We should see some higher prices. This is probably a B+ setup. Why? Because we already grabbed the highs and we don't have to go higher. But if we are in a bullish narrative, this should violate and we should run these highs right here. B+, as in it doesn't have to at this moment. All right, sorry I haven't been looking at the chat here. Yep, just destroyed me. Good morning, Joseph. How you doing? How you doing? All right, look how it's respected this low side. See how it's respected this low of this new day opening gap? Or how it currently is respecting, I should say. If there is an aggressive candle higher and we close this in one candle, I'd be interested in running to this high. But obviously we're not seeing that at the moment. Ten minutes till 10 o'clock. The only way I'm interested in this is if we close this level with one candle. It needs to be aggressive and we can't run this high before the close. So we need to close just above it. Well, I'm on the 30-second, aren't I? I'm okay with that. Let's look at the 1 minute. Yeah, there's nothing here on the 1 minute, guys. You see how this 1 minute was violated? And remember I said I'm not interested in that? It violated it, came to this order block, and then gave this large candle. That's a signature and price you need to take a picture of. This is a great indication for price action. We hit sell side. We hit a level of sell side. We filled in volume imbalance. We violate an inversion gap or a fair value gap saying, hey, we should move lower, but what do? We don't. Why? We still had buy side liquidity to the upside. So we come down, violate it. We land on this order block, this bullish order block, which is also a breaker, and we move higher. Good signature and price there. But you need to know what you're looking for and what you're reading for. Right? If you did not understand that we still had buy-side liquidity above, you may have taken that short and been like, what just happened? Why did I just got destroyed. All right, see how it's two candles in here? I'm not interested in this to the upside at the moment. You know, I have not really seen oil inventory affect my price action. As long as you're still reading order flow and looking at draws on liquidity, I don't think it will affect it. I haven't seen it affected in the past. So here's another violation right here to the downside. It's not an A+. Why? Because we really didn't grab liquidity up here. And we're sitting right at this new day opening gap. Not interested. This is finding a lot of support right here. So I'm not going to bet that it's going to be violated because of this inversion fair value gap that's right here. It could, but I'm not going to put money on it. There's going to be better options, better trade opportunities. So why waste our money on something that's 50-50 in my mind? I mean, it just worked out, but there's going to be other opportunities that are going to be clearer and more obvious. And so your challenge as a trader is to make that judgment call on when a trade is worth your risk and when it is not. That takes time. It takes time. It's something that I'm continually learning on, and this isn't one of them. This isn't one of them. To be honest, I really would like some more displacement to the upside. Not because I want it to be bullish, but when I look at price action, it's still relatively smooth. Yeah, it's a little jagged, but this is obviously more jagged. I want to run that and run those lows down there. I just want a little more displacement to the upside. Personally, this is from yesterday's price action on the 5-minute. This was a great move at 10 o'clock, guys. That was money at 10 o'clock yesterday. Go look at the price action at 10 o'clock yesterday and tell me what you see. All right, we grabbed these equal lows and we just made this inversion here. I like this play, actually. You see how aggressive that was? I know I was late in calling it, but it worked. The reason why I liked it, I'm already wanting to see higher prices. We swept these equal lows here and aggressively in one candle closed above this in this fair value gap. That's a signature on price. Also, you want to take note of. Now, the question is that you may be having is, well, we already ran this high, so why do we have to run this high? We don't. This is strictly price action related. We ran equal lows, and it was aggressive immediately the other direction in a trend that's bullish. So I played the trend and the candle. This bullish candle closed above. I didn't play this, I should say. I did not play this. I saw this late. But the reason why I liked it and called it out is the idea of the trend is going higher. We grab sell side liquidity, and in one candle, we close this fair value gap, targeting this swing high to move our stop to break even, then targeting this high next. So this at the moment would be a free trade. It would look something like this. Well, you would have been stopped out after this candle right here. So targeting that, then you would have been targeting this. You would have eventually been stopped out about 3 candles later. Diane, good morning. How you doing? Glad you're here. Hopefully you're having a great day. Hit that like button, guys, if you can. I'd greatly appreciate that. Means a lot. And if you guys do use Apex, consider, if you use Apex already, consider using the code DTJ, Day Trading Jesus. I would greatly appreciate that. It's a free way to support me. For all the free awesome content I provide. All right, so I wanted to see some bullish price action, not because I wanted to go higher, but because I want these levels to get a little more jagged. These relatively equal, these highs right here, I wanted something to pierce through them. Now we just hit the daily fair value gap. Now I would prefer to see lower prices. I don't want higher prices, to be honest. So we'll see what price wants to give us here. Not good. Not good. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Joseph, are you talking about the 10 o'clock yesterday? I'm telling you guys, if you can recognize 10 o'clock, you have hope. There's hope for you to be able to become a profitable trader. I mean, it is clear as day. It is like textbook. 10 o'clock yesterday. Look at that price action and tell me what you see. Oh, man, I'm sorry. It wasn't at the 10 o'clock candle, was it? Oh, I forgot, guys. I should tell you what happened to me. I lost multiple funded accounts because I left an order. I left an order on. As you can tell, I'm already over it. But I lost multiple funded accounts because of it. Oh man, I didn't. It ran for hours. It was in a trade for hours and I didn't even know it. Ended up losing multiple accounts. Yeah. So Diane, I feel your pain. Stuff like that just happens. It's about how I'm putting a video together on how Kobe Bryant has impacted my trading career. And one thing that I've seen from Kobe Bryant is his mentality of never giving up, always pressing on, always working at getting better, always working on improving himself. And I'm making a video on that. And to be honest, that has helped me look past the fact that it wasn't anything that I did. I left an order on, but it wasn't because of poor trading, bad mismanagement. It wasn't because of anything like that. It was because an order was not closed that got triggered that ended up taking those accounts. So sucks, but it's fine. Not a bad idea. And Diane, I want to help you change your wording. I want you to change your language. It's not that you have to try. You either you do or you don't. You have to make a self-convincing decision that that's what you want to do. Like I've decided I'm not taking more than 3 trades. I've decided that. Now, I still get the opportunity to choose to follow through with that or not. I'm not interested in that fair value gap. If you're looking at this right now, we really didn't deliver to anything. We didn't run any highs. Do you guys see that on the 5-minute? We just stopped. Now, maybe there's something. Oh, that's the 1 hour. Let's look on the 5-minute. We didn't run anything on the 5-minute either. Here's the high. Yeah, we didn't run anything on the 5-minute. So we did hit the breaker again, the breaker from yesterday. This was the breaker. Yeah, this was an amazing move. I'm just going to go to it because now it's relevant. Right here. Look at this breaker. There's your breaker. Let's make a purple candle for right now. There's the breaker. Now let's see how what happened when price hit that. Look how it hit it again, and it reacted to it. So price will still reference old price action. It doesn't mean it's going to go lower. It means it had a reaction there. And you could take a trade off of that, and you could have got, I don't know, you could have probably gotten 10 handles out of that if you went short right here. I mean, yeah, that's 24 handles. You could have got easily 10 handles from just that reaction of past price action. Does the 1 minute not matter? Are you talking about it running a swing high on the 1 minute? Yes, it does, but not as much as a higher time frame. And when you're looking at the structure of price action, when I'm looking at this structure, the structure does not show me that there's any significant level here. I really like that level, right? It's the obvious, clearly obvious level. So don't overcomplicate things. Go for the obvious things. This is the obvious level. There's no fair value gap here. The only thing that was there was a move that you should have taken yesterday if you were on stream. I wasn't on stream. Or if you were trading yesterday at 10 o'clock, you should have took this trade that was right here at 10 o'clock yesterday. And that is the same reaction it had. I don't even think it hit this high. Let's see if it hit this high. I don't even think it hit the high. It made equal highs. You see that? It didn't even break the high. It made equal highs. So it grabbed, it reacted to the breaker from yesterday and made an equal high, which means we're probably going to go higher. So that's how I would use the 1 minute, Deborah. The 1 minute created an equal high. Tells me don't go short, don't go short. Warning, warning, warning. We will use you as liquidity. That's what that's saying right there. The 5 minute. Yeah, so you're looking at this 5 minute, this large 5 minute fair value gap. So we already closed, we closed through it. That's significant. It's just very large, so I'm not using it as any type of reference right now. I mean, that is huge. It's 849 to, that's 40 handles. So that's really large. So I'm not personally using it, but you can see price reacted to it. Look at that tick right there. It landed into the 5 minute again and now is moving higher. So see how you can use it to read order flow? I'm not using it to make a trade. I'm using it to read on where order flow may want to go. Right? We have an order block here that it respected, but this body at one point was a fully red candle down into this 5 minute fair value gap, but then retraced completely and closed green. This is a big signature in price, and we have triple equal highs right here. So I would be looking, I would love to see some type of retracement before we grab all that. That gives me an opportunity to go long. I doubt it is. Doubt is probably, I guess, my guess is just going to push right through it. But that's what I would be looking for, because we're looking left. We're identifying key levels in price. We're seeing how price is reacting to them just so we can learn to read order flow. So partly the reason why I didn't grab this is I'm talking about different concepts, and my attention is divided between talking about what I'm seeing and actually trying to look at price action. I enjoy it, but I do miss things from time. And that's a 5 minute, this 5 minutes worth noting simply because of how it reacted to it. I'm not going to take a short or a long because of it, but it's great to read. The next thing I'd be watching on the 1 minute is this wick that we just created. That wick, do we respect the mean threshold, the consequent encroachment of it, the midpoint? If we close below it, we're probably going to run, or there's a greater chance of running this low and having lower prices. Do we stay above it? We're probably going to move higher. We also have this order block that was closed right here. So at this point, where I'm at and what I'm thinking is I'm not taking a short or a long until this high is ran. I want these highs to be ran, or I want to make equal highs or come close to them, because they're too obvious of a draw on liquidity for me to ignore them. Another way I could say it is my guess is we'll probably get a cleaner opportunity after one or both of these levels are ran. Okay, so now that we closed below it, let's see what happens. This is me just reading price. I want to find out, do we still move higher after we've done this? Or do we run this low right here? Mags, how you doing? I am doing great. I am blessed. I'm having a great day. We're just reading price action right now. Enjoying this beautiful Wednesday morning. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. If you have any, I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on what you would like to see in the stream as far as commentary, as far as questions you may have, drop them in the comments below. I'm open for feedback. I do want to see these ran. I would love for this sell side to be ran. I would love this wick to be ran and a fair value gap to be left to where we can target this, guys. I would love to play a long, an obvious long there. I want to play that. But if you just get in right now, you don't know if it's going to hit this level or if it's going to go lower. This is why you wait for your model to present. So in this scenario, the only way I could get in is if we see something like this. And on this drop, we have a fair value gap that's left that we can violate so I can run higher. There is not one in price action right now. And even you may think to yourself, well, there's this tiny one right here. I don't play with teeny tiny ones. I need obvious. We trade in the obvious. We trade in obvious price action, not the questionable price action. And it's probably going to just run it and go higher. So this is something I watch. I'm starting to watch more. I've seen ICT talk about this more. So I'm starting to put it on my charts because I want to recognize it more. Because I've seen it work. As I look back in price action, I'm seeing how it is effective. Okay, we ran those equal highs. Now these are my draws on liquidity. Let's throw a fib on here. I want to see what happens. Nothing that's obvious to me. These are the two targets to the upside we're looking at right here. Let's mark these. Let's make them clear. Buy side liquidity and buy side liquidity on the 15-minute. Here's what it looks like on the 15-minute chart. We're targeting these two swing highs. If I'm honest, I would love the first one to be ran in a huge displacement candle to the downside. That's what I would like to see. Why? If we jump to the 4 hour, look at this run we've made in the last 9 days. I really would love to see. Actually, we could violate that. I'm okay. I'm okay running these highs. I would love to see a breaker form here. This is what I would like to see. So we got our high, our low. Let's get a higher high, fill in the rest of this volume imbalance. This is what I'm looking for. Pay attention. This I feel really good about. I would love to see these higher highs. I don't know how high it's going to go above, but at least fill in the rest of this volume imbalance, which we have not filled in yet. And then I would like to begin to look for lower prices. So then we have a breaker that would sit here. So really, we're looking for higher prices to the high of this green box. So 19,946. That's what I would like to see. Or it's going to give it to us right now. Wow. Look at that candle. Don't chase it. Look where it stopped. How convenient. Adzi, I actually didn't tell anybody this, but I did take a trade. I did talk about the price action, but because it was in the moment, I did not tell anybody I was in the trade. I ended up taking this breaker long. I took the breaker long, but it was already up here. I just knew that it was probably going to run these highs, so I got in late. I got in probably around 19,851 and sold it right around here. 70. It got about 15 handles or so. So I ended up taking that. But yeah, that candle, jeesh Sharuski. That's a heck of a candle. We are not going to do anything with it. We are going to just admire its size. That's it. Now, what this gives us an opportunity for, let's see if we go down to the 30-second if there's anything a little bit better. What gives us an opportunity is this is as an inversion gap to the upside. I'm going to close this. Let's go down to the 5-minute here. We just grabbed sell side liquidity here. This is to me is manipulation. I don't think we're dropping, guys. Do not be manipulated out of this. I think we're going higher. I'm interested in this right here. This is why we don't chase this. Don't chase it. Now, if you're looking at, well, look at this breaker right here. Yeah, it is a breaker. I'm going to watch price, but if we close above this, I'm probably going to run it to these highs or to this buy side liquidity here. Right? We still have this buy side liquidity sitting here. There is literally no model for us to take. The only opportunity would have been here, but it was taken away immediately by closing below and grabbing the liquidity in the same candle. So there was no opportunity there. So we shouldn't have done anything anyway. It would have just been chasing. And what happens when you chase? For the most part, it means you lose money. That's typically. There's some smart chasing you can do. An example of smart chasing is what I did that I didn't share with anybody. Is I took this trade here. I called out the breaker after it hit the breaker and it had this reaction. It was when I saw this reaction and I saw the breaker and that we violated this fair value gap to the downside that I was like, we're running here. I'm going to get in to capitalize on the rest of this move. To me, that was a smart chase because it was within my model it was within the structure and the order flow that I saw price going at. Yeah, with how aggressive this is, I'm not interested in taking any short here. This is not a short. I mean, it could be, but it's not a short I'm going to take. I'm looking for this to violate. We have a small 30-second right here, so I'm probably going to have to wait for the 1 minute. The 1 minute just looks better. This looks really obvious to me. See how obvious it looks? Now, there's always risk that you will take by taking a trade like this. But to me, there's 15 to 27 handles. And you don't have to hold it for this whole time. All right. I'm going to take a long here. Stop's going to be moved to break even as soon as we hit that high. Now it could drop in here into this fair value gap that's sitting right here. That's drawdown that we have to accept. I would love to see an institutional order flow entry drill, which is what we're seeing so far, where we just wick into it and then we expand higher. We want to see this we want to see this candle break. We want to see us run above that before this closes. If it closes, I don't like it as much. We want to see this candle ran. I'm going to take some size off here because it did not run that high immediately, meaning we could see a deeper retracement, and I don't know if I want to hang around for such a large move. So I took some size off. This is part of managing our risk. Why are we trying to do this? Because look at the size of this fair value gap. It's extremely large. So I have to manage my risk in a different way by de-risking by taking smaller size. I'm going to remove this, guys. It's irritating me. I'm looking for this fair value gap to find support. That's really what I would like. I'm watching. How do we react to this consequent encroachment of this fair value gap? Are we going to break through it? We're going to violate this one. If we violate this one, this is probably where I'd close my trade because we're violating this fair value gap inside of this larger fair value gap. Okay, looking to watch this close here. If there's 43 seconds, and if it gets aggressive lower, I'll probably end up closing my position and count that as a loss, guys. I'm gonna let this play out here though. All right, I'm going to close the position. Right. All right, I'm closing that position. I'm out. That was a loss for me, guys. I'm just not willing to take all of that risk on because of how large this candle is. Or how large, let's see, what did I say this was? How big did I say that was? I mean, that was 30 handles. 30 handles of drawdown you would have to take. That's a lot. Now, this trade is still valid. This trade is not invalidated. I just decided to accept that I didn't want to take on any more risk. So I closed my trade. So if you have the balls to hold for a larger drawdown, this trade is still active. I'm just not. And the reason why I figured out another way of, I'm basically used another inversion to help reduce my risk, that if we close below this, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell it. Now, I still think we're probably running higher. And as you guys will see, it probably will, if it does, this has happened to me before where I'm just not willing to accept that large of a risk. I don't want to hold it through that whole thing and then it fail and be down here and turn it into a 45-50 handle loss. No, I'm not going to do that. Now, I'm not looking to take anything like this here to the upside because we're not redelivering from anything. I'm going to sit out and let price play out for a little bit. Maybe wait till the macro time and see if anything else forms. Because this, to me, was obvious. We should have ran this high right here. And we didn't even get up there. We stopped inside this 30-second fair value gap. Isn't that crazy? It's when I see stuff like this that I'm just like, this is why I consider the 30-second. Because this small 30-second fair value gap stopped price. That sucks. I dropped this fib on here. I just wanted to see where price was at. Here's 50% right here. We're kind of reacting at this 50% level. We got our optimal trade entry down here. Look at those candles, man. Seeing price action like this makes me want to stay completely out. What is this? Here's our new day opening gap we haven't filled yet. Adzi, the thing is, if it's when you can recognize that it's a bad day, that's when it's time to walk away. Mags, I feel you, man. It can be frustrating. Were you on when I mentioned to everybody that I left a limit order on my funded accounts? I lost multiple accounts because of that. It got me into a trade, and it was in a trade for, I don't even know how long. But it didn't go in my direction. It did not go in my direction. All right, so we made equal lows down here. So, Adzi, what I would recommend, if the market's messing you up, you have to walk away and come back another day. Because I've felt that way many times, and what it really is, it's just the market conditions aren't favorable. So, we step away, we walk away, and we come back the next day with fresh eyes, just a fresh set of emotions to be able to go into the market and have a logical perspective of the market. And being able to walk away after losses is one of the hardest things to do, but it needs to be done. You have to be able to walk away. So, I want to tell you guys, I would take this trade again. I want you to know that I mean that. I would take this opportunity again because they work. Sometimes they just fail. I will take that again if I get an opportunity like that. It's just, you got to know when your opportunities are and know when to take them. All right, see all that? This is highly manipulative, guys. Highly manipulated. We went long here. It should have ran that level. And so we come back down here, make equal lows, and then at 10:36, we decide to just inject into these highs. This is highly manipulated. So don't be discouraged if you think, man, it's just destroying me. I can't figure it out. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is insane. That is just insane. There's no reason why it shouldn't have done it here. We're about to fill in the rest of this volume imbalance here. And it would be something like that. Do you see that? This is probably even worse as far as the size of the bodies. So you just got to find a way to protect yourself from the risk of 40 handles. That's how big that gap is. 40 handles. But we got equal lows here. We just filled in the volume imbalance. We left a tiny little space here. Let's see if it wants to go back up there. It went to initial 1 minute fair value gap and opening range high from where it shot up. You are correct. You are correct. Yeah, but my point is this though, Surgical Striker, is we did that here as well. It did it here. And we inversed this fair value gap. What I'm trying to say is it did it twice in a row. This is uncharacteristic of price action. It's why I'm saying it's high. There's some high level manipulation happening right now. Yeah, right there. But my point is that it happened here at 10:15 and 10:16. ICT does talk about keep track of the first fair value gap after the open. He does talk about that. Oh, you literally dropped that in here. Hey, at least we know Surgical Striker. We both have watched ICT Concepts enough to know that. I don't think there was any meeting. FOMC comes out. Meeting minutes come out later this afternoon, but that's about it. Yep, 1 hour sweeping these highs right now in lots and great fashion. And it is making a show. It drops aggressively, drops again aggressively, makes equal lows, and then just explodes higher after hitting the initial fair value gap and the opening range high. Morning, Al, Kai. So, what did I mention? I mean, this is what I wanted to see. Go back to the 4 hour here. I mentioned that I want to see, because of this initial consolidation down here, we're in the buy program. I wanted to see these highs ran. I wanted to see the highs ran. Let's get rid of some of this stuff here. So I wanted to see something like this. Here we're making that high so we can start moving lower. That's what I'd like to see. Now how high this goes, we don't know. I don't know how high it goes. We got equal highs here. on the 15-minute. It's also overlapping with the fair value gap. This is the remainder of the fair value gap. But I'm not putting much weight into it as far as the fair value gap goes. And then we have this high, this swing high sitting up here. I would like to see the first swing high ran, but not this one, personally. Look where it's sitting, 19,999.75. Seems like a good place to run to, number-wise. I'll be right back, guys. I have to use the restroom here. Okay. Sorry, I decided to make a quick cup of coffee because I didn't have one. Now this is displacement. That's our opening. That's our new day opening gap right there. I wouldn't have taken any of this. I mean, you could have taken this one here. Did anybody take that? I wouldn't have, based on how many times we, based on this manipulation. Like, I mean, come on, you want to go higher, but now you want to go lower? It's insane. And we ran that sell side. This is not market price action. I mean, I like the ranges, but honestly, it's nothing that I really want to participate in. The last one stung a little bit. The 1 hour candle, that's very bearish, especially for the hourly. If we close like this in 5 minutes, it's droppy drop drop. Here we come. Yeah, this is a high point. This guy's right here. This is telling us we're changing directions. I think we're going to see lower prices from here. My logic behind that is they're made it look like they're going short really aggressively twice. Then they explode higher, as in that should be the real move. But then now we're changing directions again. I think, and if we look at our higher time frame analysis that I put together, my analysis is high, low, higher, high. Now we see a sell-off. That could really be what we see. Let's see how we react here. We're in the 30-second. Yeah, this is a 30-second candle. Got 1 minute left on this hourly candle. And we are back inside the range. Isn't that crazy? That's just... Market is wild. Oh, yeah. See if we react from this level here. Like to see us close beneath that level. Well, don't run without us. Heck of a candle. Really nothing for us, guys. We have a low, high, lower, low. So we have a breaker right here for potentially a larger retracement. But we need to, I want something a little bit clearer. What do you guys think? Isn't this crazy? I honestly don't know what to think. This is, to me, is like seek and destroy, just craziness. Like, I wish I had all the answers. I really don't. This is just... I mean, order flow is still respecting. I'm not necessarily blown away by price, the order flow, and figuring out where it could run to. I've been doing that. I'm just blown away on the exaggeration and size of these moves. In minutes. I mean, this high to low was done in 6 minutes. And it ran 168 handles. 6 minutes and 168 candles. Or 168 handles in 6 minutes. 5 minutes. Five minutes, guys. That is crazy. Just the amount of volatility with no news. That's just like, to me, is just insane. All right, if you, Deborah, you commented on still looking for shorts. Here's 50%. So up to this level, if we reach that level, I would be okay with looking at lower prices. But there's other confluences that you can look at too. You can look at this new day opening gap. You could find resistance here. You could find resistance inside of this breaker bar right here. Right? You got a high, low, higher high. This is a breaker bar. So anywhere in here, it's uncertain in my opinion. As far as do we change direction to go lower here? I would rather wait for the confirmation type trade where let's go to the 3 minute. I like this 3 minute. If it doesn't close. This 3 minute fair value gap with these wicks, you also see it on the 1 minute. It's a little bit smaller fair value gap. But like violating that would be more appropriate. But right now, with just where price is at, this has a higher chance of acting like a breaker right now. We got a fair value gap to the left and to the right here. Look at the 5 minute here. No, nothing. So there's more likely to find support here for a move higher, but then you're running into the new day opening gap. And just with the volatility that we have, making a mistake could mean 30 handles. So do you want to risk that? This is more likely than not a day to sit out. So for the 2 trades, I have 1 win, 1 loss. 1 win was I didn't call out. It was right at the open, a breaker for playing the long, right here, and then I took a long right here, and stopped out. That basically, this trade, because of the bigger stop loss, actually brought me negative. I'm not negative too much. I'm just below break even, but that right there was disappointing. Yeah, you can remove the you can remove the question mark, Alkai, and you could put an exclamation point. Oh, it's hardcore manipulation. Yeah. Persistence pays, NFP review. Is that the news? What do we say? Forex calendar. Today's Wednesday. We have meeting minutes at 2 p.m. You know, that's in 3 hours. Oh my gosh, I'm glad I just caught this. Christmas stinking music. I don't know how it... I caught it. Alright, this is the... Let's see here. Let's remove this. Yeah. Okay, let's see what happens right here. New day, daily fair value gap, and this inversion fair value gap. If we're going to turn, this is where I'd want it to be. I'm not convinced it's going to. I'm really not. I just took this off. You got equilibrium right here of the range. Daily FX, is that for United States? Because I got that right here. I'll pull it up on my screen. It's going to show nothing there for a second, but I'll get it up there. There it is. So this is what I use. And this is today's August 21st. Music is loud. Sorry, Alka. Turn that down a little bit. There we go. I think it depends on the music, so sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know. Hopefully that's better. Okay, look what we wicked up just beneath. We might have actually hit it to the tick. 892.25. What's the high of this candle? 891.50. Wow, that's really loud. Sorry. So sorry. Let's see. I have the music on for you guys for the desktop. So if it's too loud, I'm happy to turn it off. I really have it for me to listen to. So, but I also have it on my screen so you guys can hear it, so you guys aren't hearing it through my microphone. That's the only way I figured that I could actually listen to some music and actually not sit in dead silence. I could have headphones on, but I've worn headphones a lot. You probably see me with headphones on. I just get tired of wearing it constantly. Yeah, I'm sorry. If that ever happens again, Striker, just let me know. All right, there's equilibrium of this range high to low. Very similar to yesterday. There's yesterday's. We went higher, went lower, high, lower. Now we're kind of meandering higher. That found resistance at this new day opening gap and this breaker on the 5-minute time frame. I'm just doing a comparison. I'm not saying this is gonna happen today. But it went above equilibrium to another target. For us, I don't see another target unless we really, really want to go all the way up to this breaker sitting up here. That's an option. If we do that, we are also entering, we're probably entering the OTE, optimal trade entry. Here's our optimal trade entry, which the ideal is 70% retracement, which is right above that breaker. So that's an option. If we're going to go short, we probably want to go short when we're in premium anyway of this range, not in discount. But as you guys have noticed, when there's a crazy move, especially when it's aggressive and it's trending lower or trending higher, it doesn't go back into discount or premium to move lower. It will literally go into the first fair value gap and then push lower. This is what that candle faked out everybody in doing right here. It acted in this giant candle lower as if it was going. It wicks lower and then retraces all the way back up into this in this fair value gap. Okay. I'm going to keep these levels on, but I'm going to just move them over here. I don't like how they're yellow. It bothers me a little bit. I wonder if I can change some of these things. I think I want to get rid of the price. All right, that's easier to recognize. I like that a little bit better. If you guys don't save any of your presets, I highly recommend that. It just saves time and you are able to get... I color coordinate everything for the most part. I just didn't want this black, so I made the middle red, orange on the outside of the optimal trade entry, and green for the 50% level. You can make whatever you want. So describe to me what you mean by valid. And are you talking about the 1050 5-minute fair value gap? You talking about the 1045, or are you talking about the 1035? Or are you talking about this tiny one right here at 1105? $19,854. Yeah, you're talking about this small one. Hang on one second, folks. This is Tyler. Joke. Sales call. Okay, 8:15 my time. If you're looking at there's two I see right here. I see one at 11:05 New York Standard Time. And if you can, always try to reference your New York Standard Time, not your time. New York Standard Time, if you go on the bottom of the screen, you'll see UTC, time zones. Select New York. And if you can't, I think, Deborah, you mentioned you couldn't. To make it simpler, find out the conversion. If it's small, the answer is no. I would ignore small 5-minute fair value gaps. I ignore small 1-minute fair value gaps. So 5-minute, I want them to be obvious. 10 to 20 handles. 5 to 20 handles. This one would be valid. This is from 851 to 54. That's about 4 handles. 3 to 4 handles. That's still really small. I wouldn't pay much attention to that either at this moment. If it's going to be that small, I'd rather drop down to a lower time frame. The only reason I may grab interest in it is it's a fair value gap overlapping the new day opening gap. But right now we're just running through these levels here. All right, so we hit the 50% and we've retraced some. We are in between the macro time. We're at 11:23. I would like this. I just don't like that we have the new day opening gap. Price can run through it and close, but typically when we run into this level, we usually find resistance or support initially, and then it can run through it. See, look at this candle. What did we do? We stopped at the low. Then the next candle ran through it. This candle ran through it but closed above it. This candle ran through it, closed above it, and then went through it. We found resistance here. Then we came through it. So if I'm looking for a short opportunity after we hit the equilibrium, this is a decent short to the low, but we have this in here. So it doesn't make it as clean. We got areas where we could find resistance. It doesn't mean it won't run. We also have this breaker sitting right here. I have it marked here at the body's high, but the wick high is right here. See, there's our reaction. See how it reacts when it hits these levels? This is why they're on there. Doesn't mean it can't go through it, but you get reactions. Now, when there's a reaction, the question is that just a reaction and we continue lower, or are we finding support? also 11:25 right now, so I'm not interested. We're also in the middle of the range. I don't want to mess with it. I'm just curious, guys, out of everybody that's in here, how many of you are married? How many of you are married or single? I'm just curious. Married or single? And then kids or no kids? Just kind of gauging age-wise. I guess I could have just asked age, but you don't really. I guess you can't ask age. A lot of the like groups that I used to follow, man, the average age was young. I mean, early 20s. I'm just curious what kind of audience I grab. T-Man married? Hey, you know what? You know what's funny? My dad called me T-Man. He called me T-Bone, T-Man, T. That's what he called me. Married, 2 kids. Felipe, male. Oh, married, not male. Married, 39. No kids yet. Dude, life changes when you have kids, man. Hardcore. Single, 1 kid. Awesome. $42. Married, no kids. Okay, so look, I have a little more mature audience as age-wise. I'm 37. I'm 37. Male too. Thanks for the clarification. Awesome. That's interesting. Yeah, a lot of, I mean, so many groups that I've been a part of, average age is like 19, 20, 21, and then by the time you're 23, 24, they think they're old. I'm sure there's somebody in here that's that age. I'm sure there's. I got 3 kids. 3 boys to be exact. 13, 9, and 8 are my boys. So we closed below the consequent encroachment of this wick, but we're still inside this fair value gap. Just things that I'm noting. I want to become better at reading price. Okay, we wigged down to this low, to the new day opening gap. I think we'll probably run through it. If we can get a close below, that may be nice for a short. I mean, this is probably a B. It's a B setup. It's not even an A+. It's not an A+. For sure not an A+. Oh, it is respecting it. These are the things that we just got to become better at reading price action. Felipe, Brazilian, and the last word of your channel's name. Thanks, man. I had people tell me, it's like, hey, you don't need to put the name of Jesus in your title. I'm like, I need it to be abundantly clear that when people find me, they know what I'm about. Doesn't mean I'm talking about, I'm not, preaching. I mean, I'm not a preacher. I'm going to share life, share experiences, share things that the Lord has taught me. There's a close below right there. Let's see this. I want to see it push right now. See if it wants to go. Or is it just going to do a little wiki wick? Whoops. I got out, but I accidentally clicked a button. I'm like, oh crap, I'm in this. I got out, so I didn't actually get to participate in this move. But there it is, it worked. There's the low. There's the low. So I called this a B. A B. Why? How we were delivering price in here, I wasn't as clear. But it is part of the model, just not as high probability, and it worked. It ran the low. Let's see if it finds resistance here. But going back to what I say, Felipe, it's for me, it's about being clear so people know what I'm about, and then letting people decide if they want to stay after they see what it's all about, Well, Diane, thank you. And also the trading industry, you know, it pulls a lot of a range of personalities, if I say it nicely. And I wanted that in there to basically avoid those. All right, a sweep lower. This is nice low resistance liquidity that we could run right here. And there we go. Let's see if it wants to run up to these highs here. Breakers right here. This is just reading price within price. We really ran sell side and buy side. Yeah, it's nice to watch a channel without all these swearing. Yeah, you won't get none of that from me. Felipe, I don't know what Matthew 6:33 is off the top of my head. The other thing is I know that I expect a smaller live stream audience because of my title. And I mean, that's okay. I think somebody in here, Adzi, I think Adzi joins for the education. I don't necessarily think that he looks forward to me talking about the Lord, and that's okay. I want this channel to be inviting to everybody, but I will talk about my experiences, what the Lord's taught me in regards to trading specifically. I think that's really valuable because I've seen the kingdom of heaven change my life in many ways. All right, so where we're at right now, guys, I would not be doing anything. I want to wait until noon. I'm surprised I'm still on. I'm not feeling exhausted at all, to be honest. We got these equal lows. See if it wants to run that. But I'm going to wait. I want to wait till noon and see if we get a run on liquidity, specifically towards these downsides. So I would like to see in the last 20 minutes us to run these highs and then turn around and run these equal lows. I'd like these equal lows to stay here and these equal lows down here to stay, and us to run them in the lunch hour. Okay, got a question for the chat while we're waiting. Favorite worship song, favorite song, Christian song. What song's been speaking to you lately? It doesn't even have to be Christian. I've listened to all kinds of music that I'm like, man, this hits deep. There's an African song that I've been listening to lately. My wife's African. That's legit. All right, let's see if price wants to run to these lows by noon. I'm changing the idea here, and based on this reaction, seeing if price wants to run these around in the next 20 minutes. So I would be looking at this as a breaker. I think I want to look for lower prices. I don't think I want to go long. Any long, I'll look as an opportunity to go short. Into the deep. Cool. Can I explain lunch hour trading? Is there something that generally happens? Lunch hour, there's usually a macro where it runs for liquidity somewhere. So you will, if you look back at price action, let's take yesterday for example. I don't know, but let's see what happens. Where's noon? Look where noon's at. See how it made a swing high? Very, very often you'll see a swing high or a swing low formed. So if we can get a swing low down here, it could just continue or reverse there. But it will run, usually runs for some type of liquidity around the top of the hour. I'm going to grab mine and I'm going to put it in here. My song. This is... This song, it's legit. Now my wife's African, so I've grown accustomed to African music, but it is powerful despite cultures. Here, I'll drop it in there. You guys can check that out. So option one. Persistence, I'm gonna just, is we run for liquidity, top of the lunch hour. Option two is we consolidate. We just go back and forth. We create equal highs, equal lows, and then at the end of the lunch hour, we run those. So there's multiple forms of the way price moves around lunch hour. We don't know which one it's going to be. You can make some guesses based on what previous price action looks like, but especially since we've had some giant moves beforehand, we might consolidate over the lunch hour. Put in some time distortion. So we ran these equal lows. Oh man, I wish there was an entry. You could have played this inversion here. That would have been nice. Really fast move. Especially after grabbing these equal lows. But I'm not looking for a long. That's why I really wasn't paying attention to it. All right, let's see if price wants to run these lows. Maybe run down to this 30-second volume imbalance or fair value gap. This was the initial swing low right here. We can take that out. There we go. There's that. I ended up taking this just to that low, sold it right at that fair value gap. I marked it out on the chart for you guys. Did not call it. I'm not going to call everyone. But there was the play. All right, and that was trade 3. That put me back green for the day. I am done. Here's a breaker. breakers right there. We should see a continuation right here. That's what I'd like to see, especially with 10 minutes till the lunch hour. I would love to see these lows ran by the lunch hour. So head back to the new our opening gap range, our new day opening gap, sitting right down here. I am logged out of my accounts. Officially. Are we expecting? I want to see it, but really, we want to see what happens after we run these swing lows. If I'm a betting man, I'm betting we run these lows and then we run these equal lows down here. If we're going to run these, we will probably run these. Now, it may not. Here's what could happen. Let me do this. What could happen is we do something like this. We run it, go back up, come back down, not quite run it, come back up, and then run it. That is allowable in this price action that we've been seeing. But I think we're going lower. Your job is to find your opportunity to take a short. Now, at this point, you could take a short potentially looking here. Here's the draw. What did I say? It was probably going to it was probably going to react to this. That's exactly what happened. Is we have this breaker, high, low, higher, high. We break lower here. We come back up into that level, institutional order flow entry drill, and we drops lower. Now, at this point, I'm thinking for sure, high probability, we're running this here. How we get there, I don't know. You should be taking profit along the way. I'm hoping that there's resistance there. We don't close above this. If you do, it wouldn't surprise me based on the price action we've been seeing. It could go all the way up to the new day opening gap and then come back down. But because of how close we are to the noon hour, I'm thinking we are going to run this low. Now, another thing I've seen, this is just, you just have to be in the market. We could get to here. Let's just say we get to here by noon. And then we turn the other direction. And then we run up until 12:45. And then around from 12:45 to 1 o'clock, we could then run the low. Sometimes it will leave that there for later. Go back and run liquidity this direction. Grab that liquidity that's sitting up here maybe. And then run lower. There's so many different scenarios. You just got to find what is obvious to you. And that will come in time as you spend more time watching the charts. And you take those. So if there's uncertainty, what you want to do is not trade anything and do demo account and start reading price. What do you think will happen when we come back up and hit this breaker? Are we going to find resistance again, knowing that the potential draw is still down here? That's how I would view this breaker. So I would view this breaker and say, I want to see this come. If it's going to go move higher, I want it to find resistance here and then move back down. That's what I would want to see. Now, I would prefer it not getting up there altogether and just melt on me. We did respect the consequent encroachment of this 1 minute fair value gap. So all the indications are telling me lower prices. You just got to determine when the right time for you to get in is within the price action we're seeing. But I took my third trade. I wanted to get green on the day. I sold it. I'm done. And I'm happy. I'm going to end the stream here, guys. I don't like these getting too long because sometimes I want to go back through them and chop them up, and it's 2.5 hours of streaming is a lot to go through. But that's going to be it for today, guys. I will be here tomorrow. Charles, I'm glad you're done for today. Wild ride today. You bet, man. Have a blessed day. We'll see you guys tomorrow. If you haven't, hit that like button. And also, if you do use Apex for your trading, consider using DTJ. There's no cost to using that code. It will give you 70, 80, or 90% discount, whatever the current and best discount is that they're providing. That code will always be up to date. So have a blessed day, guys. God bless.